Good afternoon and welcome to Titan Talk. Hey guys, thanks for joining us today. Today you got myself, Captain Coop, and I have my wonderful replacement at this point. Assistant? You want to go with assistant?
No. No, I don't.
I have Captain Roberts with me today. Thanks for joining me again. So today we had something else planned. Unfortunately, we couldn't get it done in time, so I've moved it.
So guess who got pulled in last minute?
No. This was something else completely. You wouldn't have been here for that anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So I moved it. It will be next week, so you guys will have a special thing for next week. You guys, if you're watching this after the fact, join in and watch us next week. It's going to be rather entertaining. We're going to have 4 of us here suffering together, and it's going to be fantastic.
4?
You're not on that one, so you're fine.
Okay, good.
Next week, we do our hot sauce again. So we did it once already. Everybody rather liked it, so we decided to do it again.
I can't handle hot sauce, so
I still don't know how. I mean, it's not that bad.
no, I fold real quick. I've got a pretty extensive palate.
I kind of want to say
I fold.
I kind of want to say for like 1,000 likes, we'll get you to do it.
If you want to donate a carton of milk,
I'll totally bring a carton of milk. Heather, welcome. Good to see you. Trevon, good to see you as well. So today, since we couldn't get the hot sauce done today, since we're doing that next week, I've traded the videos in that spot. So today we're going to be talking a little bit about live video monitoring and physical security on sites, and the use of them together and how they can make properties safer. I've been doing this for 12 years, or going into my 12th year now, and 12, yeah, something like that. And
you're old.
Yeah, very. And the one thing I've found that we do specifically better and that works better is when you tailor live video monitoring with physical security on site. The reason being is live video monitoring, I think, has its absolute fantastic uses. So you don't have to have somebody there 24/7, 365. You can use those cameras, but you have to have a physical security for that presence to add that extra little bit to it. You don't get the same response you do. And now we have a fantastic response with our live video monitoring because we have our dispatchers. They're 24/7, 365, holidays, all of that good stuff. And they do a fantastic job with ours have a voice box, I guess, or a talk down feature. And so that works fantastically, but there's a difference between that and having a physical response show up when a live alert goes off. And having an officer either round the corner or show up with a car with lights, I think it adds an extra little bit to it. There's been fantastic technological advancement for live video monitoring. If you've never looked at cameras, which would be really weird because ours have gotten better. So if you can't notice that, then that's different. But live video monitoring, the camera technology is just leaps and bounds better and better and better every year.
It is not the movie style, like bank cameras where it's grainy and I was working a post for McFarland, and I had access to cameras, and I'm able to zoom like half a football field away and read a license plate.
Oh yeah, I've seen a camera. It's a PTZ, which is you can move it and do all the cool stuff with it, zoom in and the whole 9 yards. And I've seen one where it goes 2 miles.
Yeah.
And it's perfectly readable.
It's ridiculous.
Like perfectly readable. And it's one of those, it's like, what kind of car is that? You ever seen Super Troopers? Enhance.
Yeah.
Enhance.
Yeah.
If it's what it feels like when you're zooming in on this thing.
Is that the bug?
Huh?
The bugs?
Super Troopers?
Swarms of bugs?
No. Super Trooper. It's the, really?
What am I thinking of?
You are not thinking
something about Trooper. I don't know.
Yeah. I don't remember what that one is now, but I know what you're talking about. But no, Super Trooper is a movie that makes fun. I think makes fun of stadies and how they fight over bounds of who has whose authority is where and stuff like that.
Nope, never seen it.
It's hilarious. You should. If you've never seen it, you should. But there's a part in there where they're looking at a photo and he goes enhance. And that's what it feels like when you're looking at one of those, the new cameras every year that they come out with these new, better cameras with those, like that one. You're just zooming in and it feels like you're enhance. And dude, I can tell you it was red Toyota Camry from a mile and a half away. That's how good the camera was.
At some point, you're not going to be able to get away with anything.
I mean, you really can't now. And that's the thing is with new technology and the way cameras have progressed and now the fact that there's security, there's law enforcement, the cameras, you're on camera everywhere you go. Yeah. You know, we run across that all the time where someone will do that to our officers. They'll pull their phone out and be like, I'm recording. It's like, fantastic. That's perfectly fine. The store's recording.
Yes, so is that.
This is recording. You know, there's a camera over there. It's cool. Thanks for letting me know. You're welcome to record. You know, you're on, everywhere's got eyes now. If you think that there's a spot that you don't, I mean, unless you're out in the middle of nowhere, there's eyes on you everywhere you go in any city. And so get used to that fact. But the advancement of cameras and everything, they've gotten fantastic. And I think just having cameras does yourself a disservice. If you've got a talk down feature, fantastic, that works great. And like I said, we have it here and we use it and it does a fantastic job. But I think there's a difference between having a talk down and having a physical person show up.
Yep.
Having a physical person shows up adds an extra little bit of oomph to it, I guess you could say. And making that, Heather says that's a great movie. You need to watch it. Anyway, having that response just adds something to it to me. You know, it brings in an extra level of authority to it. Yep. Hey, not only can I tell you on that talk down, hey, you in the blue sweatshirt with the blue jeans, you're on private property, you need to leave. If you don't leave, I'm going to have law enforcement or security show up. Whatever.
I've got 5. I got 10 minutes to do whatever I want and leave.
Yeah. 3 minutes later, a security officer shows up. Bam. Mm-hmm. Hey, you. I know who you are. My technicians have already told me. My dispatchers already made you aware that you're not supposed to be here.
I know you've got that bracelet in your pocket because we watched you put it there.
Yeah. Having that adds an extra little bit to it. It really does. But you have to have the understanding that there's that crucial effect between the video monitoring and the physical guards that are on property.
It doesn't. The monitoring alone doesn't mean a whole lot unless you have something to respond to that. Having somebody to respond to that is the threat.
Yeah. So it's a fantastic role between the live video monitoring and having that effect, and then having the physical person show up. The advantage of having the physical person is you've got that person who's on property, who can respond, who can do rounds, who can walk, and then you've got, when they're with the cameras, live video monitoring, you've got cameras paying attention to everything. So they've got they've got another person watching. Mm-hmm. But if your security is over here, you've got your video watching this side, someone triggers something, they tell him, he just comes right over. Or they notify the security officers that are patrolling in the area and they come over, or law enforcement, or however you have that turned out. And having that is much better than having a camera that just records. Having a camera that records is great for aesthetics. It's great for insurance. It's great for what happened.
It's a great deterrent for somebody who's intelligent and sees a camera and thinks, now they're going to be able to get my picture. It's going to be a process, but there's a good chance I'm going to get caught. For somebody who doesn't care, camera's talking to me. Great.
Yeah.
Whatever.
But having that physical person show up, game changer. Absolute game changer.
Especially if it's a patrol car, it doesn't have to be PD. If it's one of ours, that's enough for somebody to go, oh.
Yeah. Because, I mean, that's the flashing lights on it. That's the rolls up flashing lights on a private property. Someone steps out in a full uniform, full vest. That's they're taking this seriously. I should probably leave. You know, that's where that comes in. But combining those, bridging that gap, because we've had it where construction companies will call and say, hey, we want live video monitoring. And they'll have just the video monitoring, which is fantastic. You get the talk down and all of that stuff, but you still get those people who are like, it's just a camera. It's just somebody who's not here.
It's just a camera.
Yeah.
The camera said they're going to call police. Great. I have 10 minutes to mess with the equipment or steal some tools. Mm-hmm. Hey, security's on their way. They're around the corner. Ooh, I should probably leave now.
Yeah. Using those tools effectively and bridging that gap and having that to where you've got the ability to do that, it brings a level of safety to it that's just paramount.
Yep.
And being able, as the officer, and here's another point of it, being the officer on site, knowing that I have that 24/7 monitoring behind me, makes me feel more at ease doing the job because I know that somebody else is paying attention as well. It's not just all on me. There's a camera that's keeping me. It's got my back. You know, it's got motion detection. It's got night vision. It's got all these things that will notice what I don't. So I could be looking at the same space that camera is, but it's going to detect something before I do. Having that as an officer at a site makes my life way easier and makes me feel way better about what I'm doing.
And that's the next level of security is that coupled interaction and that extra layer of security and safety that is going to be the next level of security for not just Titan, but it's going to have to be for the rest of the country.
Everywhere. But see, that's the thing is when you get into those, and we experience it here. You know, we've offered it to clients where we have both. We have that blended solution where they've got cameras that are live view, and then they've got the physical officers on site. And we've had it, and with patrol, we do it with patrol all the time. You know, you get our cameras that we'll monitor it, and then we'll have a call response to our patrol officers that are in the area less than 10 minutes away. We had it recently, you know, we sent a dispatch call out for it. Within 5 minutes, our patrol officers arrived. We're able to situate everything, get everything figured out, and get them off of property or scare them before they got there. You know, having that bridge is the next step.
Or when they're interacting real time, our officers over the radio talking to our dispatch live as our dispatch is watching somebody enter the property. Yes, the suspect is in the third room on your left, and he's hiding behind the door. Beautiful safety.
Cool.
You can't ask for any better safety than having somebody with a top-down view of a building watching your six.
We had that at a construction site with law enforcement. The client wanted live video monitoring. They wanted us to call PD, and I can't remember what time it was, but it was like 1:30 in the morning or something, and we got a trigger on the camera. And so they shout out over the camera, "Hey, private property, this is Titan Security. You're not supposed to be here. You need to leave property, or we're going to notify PD." It was the cadence or something similar to that.
Yep.
Dispatch called law enforcement and said, "Hey, I've got somebody on property. Clients told us nobody's supposed to be here. We need to get. I need somebody there now because that's what they want." PD said, "Hey, we'll be there in like 20 minutes." And so dispatch just kept an eye on them, watched where they go. PD arrived, called back, and said, "Hey, where is he?" Like, "Oh, I can tell you exactly where he is." And they followed him all around the property. They walked law enforcement to where he was, and they nabbed him. Arrested him, took him, whole 9 yards. And we were able to walk them from the front of the property, through the property, to to the spot he was hiding.
Yep. You
can't beat that. That live video monitoring right there is the key point, and you can't beat it. It's so much better than having just a video record of it and coming in the morning, finding a broken window, and go, "Okay, well, what happened?"
Yep. Let's look back. Oh, there's a pretty grainy picture of the guy that we can get from this angle, whereas we can have somebody on site and actually looking for the guy while it's happening.
Exactly, and having that it's amazing. So when you're looking at security and you're either as a patron who's looking for it, as a customer who wants to security and wants that next step, or you're looking at it as from an officer perspective, when you go to a site or you're looking at it from a client standpoint and you're looking for new security and looking for the next step is that blended solution where you're using not only the live video monitoring and the physical security. And so that way, whether or not you're there, because we show up and our officers are there from the time they leave until the time they get there the next morning, and then the cameras are active the same time our officers are. And the cool thing about that is when our officers walk through the camera, dispatch looks at it and goes, "That's an officer."
Yep.
You know, so they know not to trigger anything. They know not to call anybody. But having that and looking at it and say, "Okay, how do I make my property safer? How do I keep my building safe? How do I make my staff feel safer?" Having that blended solution, there's just nothing beyond it. Not as of yet. I mean,
there's some extra steps that
there's
are out
technology that's coming out every year that's going to change even that aspect of it.
Drones.
Yeah. That'll be a fun one.
Yeah.
I still can't wait for that. That really is the next step is drones. And our boss is all about that right now.
Mm-hmm.
And looking at some of the technologies that's out there and some of the drones, just thinking about having 4 or 5 drones at your property at an outbuilding, charging, ready to go, and then 8 o'clock hits. Everybody's gone. 3 drones come up. They disperse. They do their rounds. 15, 20 minutes each drone. There's a physical security guard there. just keeping an eye on everything. Drone tags somebody, guard goes out. Like that to me is going to be crazy. It's going to be cool.
It's going to be really cool. Not only from a monitoring standpoint where you're watching it all happen, but as an officer, it's like, why did that stop?
Just sit.
Okay. There's a guy chopping the fence right now.
There's an alert. Just sitting there watching the cameras, and all of a sudden you just hear your drones take off. And you're like, oh, drone round. Switch over to those ones. You know, that'll change it, and that'll be the coolest thing ever.
The nerd in me thinking about that is just, that's so cool.
It's so cool. When I think of drones and stuff like that, you see the TV shows where they have you seen? There's some ones that I think the military has been looking into for combat, and they're tiny. I mean, they're that big, you know. And I was watching some videos where they were testing these things out through shoot houses and stuff, and they'll lob a flashbang in, and they toss a drone right behind it. And I mean, the drone hits the wall, hits the ground, sits there for a second, and then it takes off. And it just sits there and hovers probably about this high off the ground. And they're just using it to watch. And that's the first thing through the door. You know, the drone goes in, it verifies that room is clear. It moves forward a little bit, checks the door here, checks the hallway. Hallway's clear. They move in behind it. It goes into the next room, does a full spin, checks for what it needs, you know, movement, heat signatures, whatever they've got it checking for, or just a live feed. Comes out, checks the next room. It's the coolest thing. Yeah. I watched it. It was just, watched the video. Like I said, he threw a flashbang in. Right as you see the one guy throw a flashbang, half second later, you see another hand come around the corner. And it's just this little object. Takes off. And I was like, that's pretty cool.
I have gotten really excited about the future of technology and security. I wasn't even on my radar a week ago, but it certainly is as of, I think, Tuesday this week. And I've been looking at some things, and I've been hearing some speeches on it, and I'm getting pretty excited about it. I'm excited to be a part of that.
Oh, dude, it's really cool to know that we're in our industry, we are looking at stuff like that. Marco, you have a valid point there. I actually want to touch on that. Drones patrolling neighborhoods are not very cool idea. We need to utilize these tools only in an absolute necessity situation in addition to physical security. I'm going to give you a point on that because when we're talking about drone usage for like what we do, we're talking private buildings, we're talking private property, we're talking workplaces, corporate, you know, stuff like that. We're not talking neighborhoods or anything like that. We're talking a industry or a customer that has 300 acres of property, and most of it is uninhabited. It's not barren, but there's nothing there.
Or construction.
He's got buildings on 20% of it, and the rest of it is just open. And instead of having to have someone drive out there or walk the whole property, you can use a drone to observe that whole area, make sure nobody's there, or if there is somebody there, you know exactly where they're at, so you can go right to them, handle the situation, get them off property, get them away from your client, and then head back. That's what when I'm looking at drones or talking about, that's what I'm thinking of. I'm not thinking of patrolling neighborhoods or anything like that, because that's a whole different thing, and that's not a subject I want to talk about.
We're breaching some privacy.
I'm talking corporate buildings. I'm talking construction sites where it's easier to have a drone pay attention to those areas than it is to have a person walking through. Or it's a safety thing. You could have a construction site or an area that's unsafe for a person to be in for an extended period of time, where you can have that drone go through real quick, verify nobody's there, it's out, you're done.
Yep.
Rather than having to put somebody in there for an hour and a half to 2 hours, hoping that they don't trip on something or they don't fall in a hole or something of that nature. It makes it easier and safer for the officers and for the people that own the property. But that is a very good point. So I wanted to touch on that. But that's when I bring that stuff up, that's where I'm going with that. That's what I'm looking at. Is I'm looking at our larger clients that have acres and a couple hundred acres vacant. There's nothing there. I think it'd be really cool to use a drone to keep an eye on that, so I don't have to tread through the forest or through the brush. So, but other than that, I mean, that's kind of where I stand on that stuff. If you guys have any other views that you want to say, hey, Dylan, thanks for joining us. Good to see you. Other places that you've got with, we were talking about cameras. There are cameras everywhere. You've got body cams. You got AI enhanced monitoring systems and stuff like that. Those are starting to show up everywhere as well.
Yep.
Most live view technologies now use a version. I wouldn't say it's AI, but they use a version of monitoring to where it uses detection algorithms and stuff like that on cameras to detect human versus animal movement or vehicles versus persons, depending on what the camera's looking for, looking at, stuff like that. The cool thing about cameras as well is adaptability, and that's what I really like about them, is you can adapt them to just about any scenario. When I was helping on the monitoring side, there's cameras for everything. There's explosion-proof cameras, there's fire-proof cameras. There was a camera in there designed to be used in a lava, like near lava. That's really cool.
Yeah, I believe it.
You know, using it to monitor stuff like that. I mean, the adaptability of a camera is it's so cool.
As of yet, there's one thing that AI or algorithms can't do, and that's the situational awareness of what's going on. And that's where having an on-site or somebody respond to it is key. Is the camera can respond to something and catch something, but you're going to need that human perception to be able to actually assess a situation properly. And that's where live monitoring by our dispatch 24/7 comes in handy. The algorithm can pick something up, but it's going to take a human looking at that and saying, yes, absolutely, that needs to go to a patrol officer or PD.
Yep. Perfect. Well, other than that, we're going to hop into the weather so we can let you guys go. You can enjoy your weekends. So we'll get to have some fun on our weekend, hopefully, this weekend.
Fingers crossed. I share a birthday with Leon.
Still horrifying. So today we're at 73. We're looking at Saturday with 78 with some clouds AM and PM. Sunday, we're looking at 74 with some showers in the afternoon. Monday, we're looking at 80 with some possible thunderstorms throughout the day. Tuesday, 80, thunderstorms. Wednesday, 89 with some thunderstorms in the morning. Thursday, we're at 92, getting back into that warm weather. Partly cloudy. 88 on Friday with mostly sunny. Saturday is 88 and Sunday, 89. So kind of keeping in those mid-tier warm weathers, so make sure you guys are dressing appropriately for that stuff. When it comes to the rain, make sure you've got your jackets and keeping yourselves dry. And, of course, as always, hydration is key. Hydration is the day before, not the day of. So we're going to appreciate it, guys. We're going to let you get back to it. Thank you so much for everything. We appreciate it. We wouldn't be able to do this stuff without you. Please enjoy your weekends, and we will catch you guys on the next one. Stay safe.
Peace.